welcome to the Fisher Protocol, a channel dedicated to the world's greatest rock and roll band, The Who. This band is a shared passion of ours, and these discussions are more of a personal journey than a critical review. Also, no money is made from these videos, so please let us know we're not alone in Who land by taking a quick second to like, subscribe, and share us with your Who-minded friends. Constructive feedback is always welcome, either in the comments below or on Twitter and Instagram at Fisher Protocol. My name is Ethan, and today on the show, I'm joined by Tom and Betts to discuss a variety of Season 3 Who topics. We don't claim to be experts, just fans of the world's greatest rock and roll band, The Who. Hey guys, how's it going?
What's going on?
Doing all right.
That was a new intro. I don't know if you could tell. It's a little bit edited, you know?
Yeah.
Still working on that. Still feel the need to do that because when I don't do that, we do get some comments about this song was recorded on this date and this song was recorded on this date and you got that wrong and you call yourself a Who show and you got that wrong. And, you know, that's it. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
I guess we're back for Season 3. We're going to do a bunch of shows and then I'm going to slowly try to release them weekly. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The thing building up. If people really like it, they should let us know. If they have any ideas, they should put them below. We're still looking for ideas. There's only so many Who albums and so many solo albums, and we need, you know, some topics that aren't too divisive, you know, like, you know, Keith in a Hitler outfit. Is that cool? Like, I don't want to talk about that. So, but you never know. The fifth member of the Who, Oliver Reed, yes or no? I'm not doing that. All right.
No.
Let's see. Okay, so we're kind of back in the saddle. I just want to catch up with everybody a little bit over the summer. Did you guys have a good summer? Betts, summer?
Well, on Monday we had a big hurricane. Or last Monday we had a hurricane. Tuesday, Wednesday. Other than that, it was pretty cool.
I'm glad you made it through the hurricane.
I'm very happy to have made it too. Thank you so much.
And that's the story of the hurricane.
Yes.
Tom, how was your summer? You go to any shows or anything?
Good summer. Went to a few shows. Who did I see? I finally got the Check Rage Against the Machine off the list.
Oh yeah.
That show had been delayed for 2 years, so finally got to go to that, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know who else I saw. I saw a couple other shows. Tedeschi Trucks Band and a couple others, but yeah.
Did they do a lot of that new album, or is that I'm thinking of
I saw him before the new album came out. It was probably late May or early June, so new album
right
hadn't
on.
come out yet.
And who you going to see tonight?
Got Jeff Beck and Johnny Depp.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's amazing. What's he are they doing anything specific, or is it just like a Jeff Beck show with Johnny
It's
Depp
just
there?
a Jeff Beck solo show, like it would normally be, but yeah, Johnny Depp is a special guest, so
So he's
the
like
most recent album was both of them. So
he's like opening.
no, there's some opener. I can't remember who it is, but yeah, they'll just be on stage together. I guess Jeff plays rhythm on some songs and sings a couple, and they do a nice cover of John Lennon's "Isolation," which is actually pretty decent.
Nice.
But who knows? Whatever.
Have
Just to be in the same room as Jeff Beck, I'm always happy.
you seen him before?
Probably 8 times.
Wow.
Nice. Awesome. So are you going to go up to Johnny Depp if you can and let him know to check out the video on the 10 worst Who covers and let him know that the Hollywood Vampires made it?
Yeah, I'll let him know.
Okay. Did they make it? Were they officially on there for
If they
I'm
weren't,
a boy?
It was pretty rough.
Yeah, I want to play baseball on the green or something. They changed it from cricket or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was weird. I did see a couple shows this summer. I took my son to see Roger Waters. I took him to see New Order and the Pet Shop Boys, which was amazing. I did take him to the 90s mixtape tour, which was Salt and Peppa and Rick Astley and New Kids on the Block, and that was a lot of fun. And I did get to go see Florence and the Machine. That was fun. Before the next to last thing we did was in this really catch up was we talked to Keith Levinson, the orchestra leader from the Who Hits Back tour. And besides them going back on tour again, I don't know, Tom, I can cut this out if you want to. I didn't tell you I was going to ask, but it just popped in my mind. we went together to see the Who in Washington D.C. after we recorded that.
Yeah.
And I mean, did you want to tell anybody about the concert there or anything that happened afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, concert was amazing. I thought Roger sounded incredible.
You really did.
Band sounded incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, start to finish, it was just a really great show. My sister went. It was a last minute addition to my little group that went, and it was her first time seeing them, and she was like, "Holy shit, that was actually really good." But yeah, after the show, my mom and I, we had spoken to Keith, and he had offered to meet up after the show if we wanted to, and I'd send him a message. I didn't hear anything right away, or I didn't hear anything at all. It might have been last minute on my end on sending something, but he told us where they were staying and what would happen after the show, and if we wanted to stop by and say hello, we're more than welcome to. And so my mom and I drove to the hotel where they were staying. We kind of staked out a little bit outside. Not, we didn't want to be right in the front door and be looking creepy, especially the hotel that we would have stood out at. But we kind of hung out down the block a little bit. We saw a big van pull up, and it was the band, and we walked over and we went in the lobby, and there Keith was hanging out in the lobby with his wife, and we got to chat with him for about 15 minutes.
That's so cool.
And he was the nicest, coolest guy on earth.
And man, you were wearing an awesome shirt. You changed shirts.
I changed shirts.
You put on your Fisher Protocol shirt. I appreciate that.
I didn't want my bright red, white, and blue tie-dye Who t-shirt standing out looking like a stalking people.
Oh, it wasn't pride. You just wanted to not look weird. Okay, I understand.
Well, I wanted to make sure I represented the channel for sure. But yeah, I tried to stay away from Union Jacks and yeah. But as we were getting ready, as we finished up saying, chatting with Keith, we turn around and go to walk out, and just then in the front door walks Roger Daltrey, and we're just like standing there like, and he walks by, we say hello, and he says hello and just keeps walking. And
Wow.
I like kind of turned around, looked at Keith, and like we just kind of smiled at each other, and we and then we left. But yeah, super hard to like keep it professional and cool in that moment. But
it was so hard to keep it professional and cool, and I knew that in the discussion to go afterwards with you, I said no, and I went home because I knew that it wasn't going to be good for me.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and like as we were walking away, we saw another fancy car pull up, and I had, if I had to bet money, it was probably Pete getting out of that car, and I'm glad I didn't pass him.
It's almost too much, honestly.
It would be really intimidating for me. I
mean, I love them both, but yeah, seeing stopping him and like fangirling out would have been really tough. But I know he would have hated that too, so I wouldn't do that to him.
I mean, I had to edit that Keith Levinson interview with An Inch of Life. I had to take myself out of it. I couldn't even talk to Keith Levinson. So,
it's, it's just, you never get closer. That's a really close person, and that's that atmosphere, that zip code, whatever you want to call it. And it's just like, that guy's got access to that, and you're just like, oh my God.
Okay, I just want to do a couple shout outs real quick. Clue Boots on YouTube is posting some amazing shows. You should check that out. There's also Discord related to that. Also, the Hellion on YouTube is also uploading a bunch of live recordings all the time. I don't know if you guys will check that out. But on we go with this is like our season 3 show. We're just clearing out a couple things that we want to talk about before we get into our season proper, which will be next week. Okay, so we had some very big news, right? From Deco Entertainment, a thing I haven't heard of, but that's okay. And I assume it's in association with Steve Longo. They're going to release a John Entwistle compilation, rarities, miscellaneous things that we've probably heard before. It's very amorphous. It's like it'll be released in spring 2022. I'm like, well, that's now. Okay. Really quick thing. Volume 1 is the first release in a series of posthumous releases coming from John Entwistle as part of the new partnership with Deco Entertainment, longtime friend and collaborator Steve Longo. Their first one has unreleased and remastered studio tracks, demos, live tracks with gems like Boogeyman featuring Keith Moon, Where Are You Going? Demo for The Who, raw live version of Trick of the Light, recorded during John Entwistle Band's final tour in 2001. And they're going to take us behind the scenes with a booklet and everything. I've ordered mine. Did you guys order it?
Not yet, but I will.
Same,
Tom,
yeah,
are you going to get it, Tom?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so they did release I'll Try Again today online. It's a song we've heard before. I might have heard Vampires a long time ago. That's what it's from. Left for Live is what I know it from. What did you guys listen to it? Do you like it?
Do like it. I listened to that and I compared it to the Vampires track. And the one thing that I really like about it is the production, because a lot of times, and we'll talk about this later too, is that John tends to bury his vocals in the mix. And so this had his vocals out front. I liked it. It was like a hard driver. It sounded real, It's Hard, Bass Dances era John. And I was down with it, especially the little horns and Spanish style guitar at the end. It was good.
Yeah, that's where it threw me a little bit. Tom, what do you think?
I'm with Bets. For me though, it is difficult to separate it from hearing the live version. That Left for Live album I really love, and that's just pure John, and turned up to 11. I love that album, and then hear the studio version after, is a little lackluster for me, but at the end of the day, I still like the song.
Sure. And I'm more with Tom as far as liking Left for Live a little bit more, but it's one of those things where it's like there's a very specific sound that he went for later. More of a I don't know if you call it metal, but there's more like a harder, I hate to say 80s rock thing he was doing. And I guess I would have to hear more to see, what they're trying to go for on the album. I don't know exactly what's been redone. It definitely sounds brighter. But yeah, it's John, it's great, right? So yeah. You've already got our money, so everyone should check it out. All right, so what I was talking about before, we need to go back to, because I forgot to talk about it. Because I had a whole background for that whole thing I didn't even use, so that's great. I just wanted to go over the Toronto set list really quick.
Sure.
Nothing is different, but they did add, and you can tell me if you see anything else different, Another Tricky Day, which they haven't performed since 2004.
Yeah, that's the only thing I saw.
And I'm not sure what took place of that. I did see Keith Levinson, who we talked about earlier, friend of the show, we can talk about, post a rehearsal for Naked Eye. Right. And if I had gone to a show and I got and I saw that rehearsal video, but then I got Another Tricky Day, I'd probably be pretty mad. I don't mind Another Tricky Day. You know what I mean?
But yeah, Naked Eye or Tricky Day.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I thought they were launching into Hero Ground Zero. Anyway, that sounds like it. Never mind.
Right. No,
this whole video is not going out. Anyway, it is. That's not true.
I told you I did compare the Tampa show to the Toronto show, and it looks like they got Won't Get Fooled Again, whereas we got Naked Eye, and they got it looks like Ball and Chain instead of Imagine a Man. So yeah,
they got Ball and Chain instead of Imagine a Man.
That's what it looks like to me from my notes, and they did The Seeker, and he did do the little tribute to Tom Wright. Talked about that because Tom just passed away. Yeah.
Photographer, yeah.
Yeah, and friend, he was the American kid that Pete lived with in London, and when he got almost busted for weed, he had to leave the country. And Pete inherited not only the apartment, but all of Tom's blues albums. So
I thought you were going to say all of Tom's weed. Okay.
that likely too, but yeah, he got the he inherited all those blues albums that Tom had, and big influence.
And do you remember what song he dedicated to him?
Yeah, it was The Seeker, and I'll tell you why. when I saw them in Tampa, Pete talked a lot about how much he liked Florida and that Tom's family had, I think, a farm in Florida, and like he enjoyed going to visit. And it seems to me that the way The Seeker was written was that he was at the farm and he was pretty inebriated and he fell into a swamp, and that's kind of how he wrote The Seeker. But yeah, he dedicated The Seeker to Tom, and I thought that's pretty awesome.
And he always introduces it like the song from the swamp, and I guess that's what it's different for everybody,
Yeah,
swamp water.
yeah.
I love the version of The Seeker they're doing on this tour because he's using his acoustic guitar on it.
Yeah,
I think it sounds amazing. And it was one of my favorite songs when I saw him. And our last little thing, and it almost required a whole show, but my friend on Twitter at Stephen Mackey 18, he posted this question one night. He said, and the Who Twitter thing that we're in, we get really deep sometimes. And so he posted the question, and I'm paraphrasing, at the end of Piranesi on Odds and Sods, who is singing the There Once Was a Note, Listen? And I was like, well, that's obvious. It's Pete. And everyone's like, and everyone said, well, that's, listen to it. So I did give it a listen, and it started to really confuse me, like in a very deep Who nerdy way. Because if you listen very closely, I don't know, am I crazy? It's not, am I insane that's my brain started working on that? I know I posted the question to you guys, like, Tom, what'd you think when I asked you that? Like,
I had the same reaction as you without listening to it. I was like, well, who else would it be? Then you listen to it as like, all right, is that John? Like, why would John have one line in a whole, like, is it a mix of people? A bunch of guys standing around a microphone? I have no idea.
Well, being that John put that record together and produced it, it would not surprise me. And I think about him doing, producing the Kids Are All Right soundtrack too, and overdubbing, some of the having Moon come in and do some of the overdubbing for some of his earlier sequences from the 60s and things like that. It could very well be John, and I'm gonna say John just because he was the guy putting the record together.
I asked Steven like a couple weeks ago about it, and I wanted to know what his conclusion was, because his conclusion sounds very hard, but it actually sounds like what you're hearing in your ears, which is, There Once Was a Note sounds like Pete, Listen sounds like John.
Yeah.
That's really what it sounds like to me, but I couldn't find any information very specifically on that two-phrase thing on the internet. I looked.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to believe it is John. Just, I don't know. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
I believe, if it's one person, if it is one person and not two, I don't know. Pete can't do that second part, or it doesn't sound like him doing it.
I agree. Yeah, I think it is two people.
It's a listen, and I listen to that a lot. I listen to that like 18 times. Okay, so just at that one part, like, guy puts a thing on Twitter, and then I'm listening to like the last 30 seconds of Piranesi all night. So send us cool questions like that.
Yes.
All right. That's it for today's show. Sorry, it's going to be a rough edit here because it's the first show back. Again, if you guys have any ideas, you guys anything you want to see in season 3, we're going to be recording here through I don't want to say the holidays, but you know what I mean, through this winter months here. So we have some things lined up. We actually have a special guest lined up. And we have some albums we're going to review per usual. So thanks for waiting, and we'll see you guys soon.